What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen this how it was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. Definitely geeked to get into this one, y'all. You already know. Definitely geeked. Make sure y'all go check out Doug X out. Definitely, I'm saying, gotta hop in this one, y'all. Let's get it.
Letitia James, so close. You came so close to stealing Trump's properties, to confiscating them in your little communist empire. You and creepy Judge Engoron. And it's all floating out of your hands. I got some news for you guys. Let's get to it. Some clips and some articles, really just to get you up to speed on what's happening with Trump's trials in New York. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of why we're happy is because the Democrats' plans against Trump didn't work. Here's three headlines. Boom, boom, boom. MSNBC News. Donald Trump posts $175 million bond in civil fraud case. So yes, he posted the bond. He's good. That was 10 hours ago. Here's CNN. Trump posts $175 million bond in New York civil fraud case as he appeals. And then here's the Hill. Trump rips New York fraud case after posting $175 million bond. We're going to go to that center article with CNN and read that one because it's so hilarious. CNN Politics headlines: Trump posts $175 million bond in New York civil fraud case as he appeals. Former President Donald Trump has posted a $175 million bond as he appeals the judgment against him in New York civil fraud case brought by State Attorney General Letitia James. Trump's bond pauses any action that James could take against Trump's properties in response to the judgment until at least September. Guys, this thing is over. When the state appeals court also set a schedule to hear his appeal of the $464 million verdict against him. I'm going to zip down to this Alina Habba quote, as promised, President Trump has posted bond. Trump attorney Alina Habba said in a statement, quote, he looks forward to vindicating his rights on appeal and overturning this unjust verdict, unquote, in a Truth Social post on Tuesday morning. The former president said he posted the bond just for the right to appeal this travesty of a case, and criticized Engoron. We have that Truth Social from Trump at the end of this video, so hold tight. Here's Turley on Fox News with just a quick overview of the entire case.
Look, this has really done great damage to the New York legal system and how it's perceived internationally. This is thrilling for many people in New York who, after all, elected James on a pledge to bag Trump for something. So this is obviously playing well to the New York base. But outside New York, and particularly international businesses, are looking at this, I think, with a degree of horror. That a judge could come up with a figure so large you have to sell parts of your business just to get an appeal.
And that's what's embarrassing to Letitia James. They actually made a size of bond that can't be appealed. It's impossible. So it shows their hatred of Trump, exposes them as Democrat operatives, which is good for Trump. Even in New York, here's Simon Ateba. Trump writes, thank you to Professor Jonathan Turley. That was the last video clip. Jonathan Turley for exposing the horrendous decision made by a corrupt New York State judge, Arthur Engoron, on
And that's the whole New York.
I will get Trump, unquote, worst in the nation. AG Letitia James, unfair case against me. I just posted a $175 million bond just for the right to appeal this tragedy of the case, which I won at an appellate division, but the judge refuses to accept it. A first, that's Judge Engoron. He is a whacked out nut job who just made up a number out of thin air, just like he did on the value of Mar-a-Lago. Businesses won't enter New York because of this decision, and many are fleeing. Think of it. I had to pay an enormous sum for the right to appeal the ridiculous decision of a crooked judge and attorney general. This is election interference, and it all comes directly from Joe Biden and the White House, and attack along with all the others on this political opponent, me, says.
But the crazy thing is that if we all being real, it'll have to be something that happens messed up, because it's a lot of people that's on Trump's side, y'all. It's a lot of people, and it's a lot of people trying their hardest to tear him down and for him not to be president. But hey, it's a lot of people that's backing Trump up.
Trump was given this argument by a citizen journalist, like a schmo lady lawyer, who found the something in the Constitution, and it ended up making its way to Trump's lawyers. Check this one out.
Well, when the New York judge decided to fine Donald Trump basically all the cash he had and then some to virtually ensure that he would not be able to appeal.
So she went sleuthing after that happened. I just think it's very impressive what she found. It encourages me as a citizen journalist too. You never know how high these things go.
I thought to myself, I'm going to check the 8th Amendment and see if it has a clause in it that says accept Trump, because the 8th Amendment prohibits excessive fines. And I looked up the Supreme Court case most recently that decided whether this applies to the states as well as the federal government.
She goes to the 8th Amendment that she says you can't have extreme fines on someone like Trump. And many of the Democrats were kicking back, going, but that 8th Amendment is not for the states. It's only to limit the federal government. She goes back and finds a case. The New York, the states were also limited by that same Constitution, and it was argued by a strange ally of Trump's. Can you guess which judge wrote the opinion?
2019 was the year. The case is Timms versus Indiana. It's a gentleman's name. He had a $10,000 fine that he owed for a drug-related offense. The state of Indiana wanted to seize his $42,000 car, which he bought with insurance proceeds, not with drug proceeds. The Indiana court said it's an excessive fine, and the Indiana Supreme Court overturned that and said, yes, but the excessive fines clause doesn't apply to the states. And it went to the Supreme Court.
And this Indiana case goes before Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Does this limitation, this amendment, apply to the
I wasn't expecting to hear that being from Indiana.
states or just to the government?
And the Supreme Court said in 2019, yes, it does apply to the states. Excessive fines are prohibited. And then there's a long definition of proportionality and the rest of it. The decision was unanimous, and it was written by Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg saved Trump's butt. Good job, Ruth. Thank you once again. Now, what's amazing about our law and our Constitution, it can actually cut both ways. Trump can now use this decision by Ruth Bader Ginsburg and say that that 8th Amendment of excessive fines applies to New York, and therefore Judge Engoron and Letitia James are anti-Constitution.
And so I wrote a column about it. I said, here's how Ruth Bader Ginsburg just saved Donald Trump $455 million. Because I had all of the citations to the different decisions, I think it was passed around to the lawyers, some of whom were representing Trump, and it ended up in his hands. And so he posted a link to it on Truth Social. And so there's been a lot of traffic to that column.
How cool is that? She writes a little column, Trump reposts it. It made its way back to him, and he liked it. And he started mentioning the 8th Amendment in some of his speeches. I saw it happen. So this is all because of a citizen journalist, this lady that did the research.
What brilliant legal sleuthing. It reminds me how much I revere this country and our Constitution, that actually we can go back and actually establish facts and the law and insist that they're followed. There's something about that whole story.
I told y'all there's people out there that's going to back Trump. Even if they don't back Trump up, it's just a simple fact of what's right and how you don't do people like that. You know, and that's just what it is, you know. That's sad.
Just told that I find deeply
shame on them.
Actually.
Yeah, we can insist that they're followed. The problem is the Democrats hate following their own decisions. Let's keep going, though, because there's a lot more on Letitia James. Here's Laura Loomer on Twitter, exclusive. Lauren Merchants, that's Judge Merchant's daughter, Laura Merchant's mother, and Judge Merchant's wife worked for the Trump-hating New York Attorney General Letitia James. So this is the judge in charge of the Stormy Daniels case with Alvin Bragg. Who are the Democrats not in bed with? Look, there's Laura Merchant. She's the Attorney General, Special Assistant Attorney General. Attorney General records show Laura Merchant held job of Special Assistant to the Attorney General from 2008 to 2022. She worked for Letitia James. Of course, this other Judge Juan Merchant is not going to recuse himself, because that would be doing what Democrats demand conservative judges do, like Clarence Thomas. And then here's the actual legal document down there, the original mortgager, Juan Mershon and Laura Mershon. Now let's get to Trump on Truth Social. He posted, I've just posted a $175 million bond with a sadly failing and very troubled new state of New York, based on a corrupt judge and corrupt attorney general who used a state that was never used for this before. There was no jury was allowed. My financial statements were conservative and had a 100% perfect caution non-reliance clause. There were no victims except me. There was no crime or damage. There was only success and happy banks. The case was fabricated election interference con job, so bad for New York, where businesses are fleeing and violent crime is flourishing. Thank you, Letitia James, for your contribution with violent crimes. The crooked judge, Engoron, to suit his narrative, valued Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida at $18 million when it was worth 50 to 100 times that amount. He ruled I was guilty before he ever saw the case. He should be disbarred. And Letitia James, who campaigned on getting Trump, she should be impeached. Also posted a $91 million bond on another New York fake case that's with Eugene Carroll. I can't use that money on my campaign. Just what Crooked Joe wanted, witch hunt. Wow. Man, this is powerful stuff. Here's Judge Janine Fan.
You already know she about
Senator Holly Press calling for AG Letitia James to be disbarred for targeting her political opponent. Do you agree with Senator Holly Press? Should Letitia, you guys in the chat, should Letitia be disbarred? Yes.
We all know the answer to that, y'all.
Or no, if you believe yes, also give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Here's the New York Post. Dems, clients of daughter of New York judge in Trump hush money trial, raised $93 million off the case. What the what? I'll just read you some of this article. Two major Democratic clients of the daughter of the judge overseeing Donald Trump's hush money trial have raised at least $93 million in campaign donations and used the case in their solicitation email. So they sent out talking about what Trump was doing to raise $93 million, raising renewed concerns that the jurist has a major conflict of interest. Trump's attorneys are considering filing another motion mandating Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchant recuse himself from the case, set to begin April 15th, sources said. Main take home is they're all in bed with each other. They're all raising money. Trump's the only one being censored and saying that he cannot speak on this. Of course, anyone else would be nailed with having to recuse themselves until a Democrat does it. But I mostly wanted to make this video about an update on how Judge Engoron and Letitia James are looking worse and worse to the public. They're starting to open themselves up to being investigated themselves, just like what happened with Fani Willis.
But you never know.
Of course, I'm so happy
You never know what's the outcome of that, and I'm not trying to have, be negative about it or anything like that, but you don't really know the outcome of that situation. But something obviously needs to be done, or what's happening and still happening even after stuff is getting settled, and obviously not following by the book. You're not following it, and it's so much corruption and messed up things going on that something does need to be done. I don't care who you are. You be this Democrat who thinks that, and or this Republican, this conservative. It don't matter where you are. You know what's right. You know what they doing is wrong. I mean, it's all out there. The facts are out there. Y'all let me know what should be done. Make sure to like with that subscribe, but definitely appreciate y'all. Everybody have a blessed day. Catch y'all next one.